Hello, friends. This is Tony Dizant, Space Rocker of the Planet Earth, back with another live video today. A beautiful day today. Is a Wednesday, and I'm gonna start asking you something, like I always do, and it's gonna be the subject of the day. Are you religious or spiritual? Religious or spiritual? If you stick around, you're gonna learn something today, and we're gonna be talking about that subject. But not before I tell you a little bit about the not so fake news. The not so fake news. And why do I call them the not so fake news? Is because they're still fake, but some of the stuff they can't cover it. And people are more aware these days, and they know what's going on. A lot of you are becoming more aware of what's going on, and then you know that they're covering everything up, and what they tell you is not the truth. But what they're saying right now is this: they were talking today about, of course, the big and beautiful bill act came up again. They're still debating that. They have to run it. They already ran it through the Congress. It passed. Now they have to run it through the Senate, and it's having some difficulties. And of course, the big time shot Elon Musk said that he didn't like the bill. And apparently, they're just saying that he has a big interest in the electrical cars, and so it's basically he don't like the bill because it's not favoring him and his companies. And so he's calling it, blaming it on what he tried to do, which is Department of Government Doge efficiency, Department of Government efficiency, and that he was there for nothing. But it's really not that, because I think that some of the stuff that he did, they are gonna implement, and whatever they don't implement, they they're gonna put it back. But it's just gonna be a few things. So he was there for something, to cut a lot of jobs from the government, and they're gonna do that. So the big and beautiful bill, somebody blabbered out $5 trillion. It was first like $3.8 trillion in 10 years. Now somebody came out today on TV, and I heard $5 trillion. So which one is it? Is it the 3.8 over 10, or 5 trillion? Or what they say today, they say 2.4 trillion would be added to the debt. So maybe they're thinking about $5 trillion minus 2.6, and it'll add up to 2.4 trillion, maybe. I'm not really sure, but it's just a lot of money. That's all it is. It's just a lot of money, and this government has always managed to survive, survive on debt. And so they're gonna do something about it to be able to sustain this, and everything is gonna be okay. That's what I believe. And of course, they're talking about that we're gonna default on our debt, and the country's gonna go bankrupt, and all this jargon. None of that's gonna happen. They just want to make you scared that something like that's gonna happen, so that they maintain you entertained, and they maintain you scared and play fear tactics with you. Well, enough of that. Um, they also had today, I saw that Ukraine had an operation and they blew up a bridge that led to Crimea. And so Ukraine apparently had this operation um, planned for a long time, and they blew up that bridge. And of course, Putin said that he is promising to retaliate. So basically, the phone calls didn't do anything. And I remember that talking to you about the phone calls of President Trump separately to Putin, separately to Zelensky, and trying to get a peace deal, trying to get a ceasefire. Apparently, none of that's going to happen. None of it. We're still going to have this war. It's still going to be in front of us every single day. And of course, they're also talking about nuclear war. But don't listen to that nonsense. Like I mentioned before, they're trying to scare you, trying to tell you that they're going to be shooting nukes and all this stuff. None of that's going to happen. These people are crazy, but they're not that crazy. Okay? And what they want is they want to continue the war because war makes money. And as long as they keep the war going, it helps the country economically. And that's basically it. They just playing with our money. The people that pay the taxes. And that's mainly it. And of course, you can get mad and blue in the face as much as you want. But can you do anything about it? I seriously doubt it. Seriously doubt it. That word is hard for me. But I seriously doubt it that you can do anything about this. So why worry about it? What you got to do is put yourself in a position where you excel economically and you forget about all this crap. That's one of my main advice. Now you have to know that something's happening, and you can't be like an ostrich and put your head in the sand and not know anything about what's going on in the world. But don't pay too much attention to it. Don't let it bother you. And don't let it get you mad either. Because if you can't do nothing about it, what you gonna get mad for? And with that, I'm gonna leave that rigmarole for another day. But are you religious or are you spiritual? And this is a controversial topic. So, first of all, I want to say that I don't go either way. Religious, spiritual, for me, it's all a big nonsense. But let's look into it. Are you religious or are you spiritual? And this is something that I've been dealing with since I was a kid. I might have been like 10 years old when I started to delve into this subject. And of course, because I've always been leaning towards the scientific side, the science, I have a more scientific view of the whole thing. But I didn't pay attention too much when I was a kid because my mom made me go to church. And I was raised Catholic. And there, they try to indoctrinate me and everything, and I could recite the whole Mass. At one point, I memorized the whole thing. Like many of us, I was there at the church and everything, and I was involved. I was an altar boy, and then also I was in the youth groups and everything. And I couldn't tell you that it was a bad experience, but I really didn't really pay too much attention to it because, like I said, I always dealt with the scientific part of it. But then the years went by, and I saw these things, and I liked the Catholic Church, and I liked what they had to say, and I followed it for a little bit. And now with this late Pope from Argentina, he was really more into the spiritual side of things, and he was more open to a lot of things, and I kind of liked that. So there was a balance there. But mainly, this is what it is. If you're religious, you follow a religion, you follow a church, you follow a doctrine. You could be Christian, you could be Catholic, you could be evangelical, Methodist, or Protestant. You could be a Mormon. On the Asia side, you could be Hindu, or you follow the Buddha. You could be a Buddhist, or whatever it is. On the other side, you could be Jewish, or you could be Muslim, or you could be, um, but it all ends in one thing: following Jesus. You either believe that Jesus was there and he did what he did, or you just believe that Jesus was just another person just like everybody else. And so that's the debate. I'm not saying Jesus did not exist or didn't do what he said he did. They say he did. No. I believe that Jesus came to this earth, and I believe that Jesus came and did all these miracles and all everything. But at the same time, I also believe that he came to show us the spiritual side of things. That at any given point, we can connect with the universe. And this is when it gets deep, okay? And the universe is a whole. And we are all in that universe. We're not detached from it. And so basically, when he came and he walked this earth, he connected with that universe better than anybody else. So he knew things that just a regular Joe doesn't know, like you and I. And so he could walk on water. He could do all kind of things, you know. But he came to show us that all of us have the same ability. We just don't tap into it. We never get there. We don't have the capacity. But everything is part of the universe. Every living thing that comes has a beginning and an end, and basically we're all part of this system. So you're either religious or you're spiritual. Now, if you're spiritual, you might not believe in God. And that's the big deal. That's the big word. They call that word atheist. Because what happens is, if you're spiritual, you think you're part of a bigger thing. And you're connected. And you came from that, and when we leave, we're going to be going back to wherever we were before or wherever we go next. But it's still going to be part of this universe. If you're religious, then you have other opinions. Because every religion and every church have different doctrines, and some of them think that, you know, that we're gonna go to heaven, or that we're gonna go to a hell and we're gonna burn in hell and all this stuff. I particularly don't believe in none of that. I think that heaven and earth is right here. You decide whether you're going to live in heaven or you're going to live in hell. But that's just my opinion. So I'm leaning towards the spiritual side of things. And of course, I don't particularly now follow any religion. And so I'm more of a spiritual being. But I don't have any problems with, and I respect everybody's opinion. And I respect everybody's religion. So don't get it against me. That's just my belief. I respect your belief. You have to respect mine. And that's enough of that. Are you religious or you spiritual? If you're spiritual, you already know where you're at and where you're going. If you're religious, it all depends on what they told you. That's basically it. And you have no clue where you're going after this life. And with this one, I want to say hi to everybody. I want to say hi to all the people around the world that follow my music and follow my videos. I know who you are, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's been over 82 million of you, and I don't take that for granted. This is Tony Dizant, space rocker of the planet Earth, still living in this beautiful planet called Earth. Today, with a controversial subject: are you religious or you spiritual? Do you know where you're going? I'll see you on my next video.